Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive here on Tech Talk Central.
Hey there.
Today, we're tackling a really interesting comparison, aren't we? It's kind of the battles for your wrist.
We're looking at the Garmin Venu X1 versus the Samsung Galaxy Watch 7.
Exactly. And we're aiming to go beyond just, the surface level specs.
Yeah.
We want to dig into what these watches really are.
Yeah, they almost represent two different philosophies, right? Of what a smartwatch should even do.
The sort of dedicated high-performance fitness tool versus maybe the smarter, everyday AI companion.
That's a good way to frame it. And our mission today, really, is to just cut through all the marketing buzz.
Get straight to the point.
Yeah, pull out the really important stuff from, the reviews, the specs, everything we've looked at so you get a clear picture.
Helping you figure out which one might actually be the right fit.
Exactly. Which one genuinely suits your needs, your lifestyle. It's more about insight than just listing features.
Right. Because the devil's often in those details, especially with tech. So what were some of the things that maybe surprised you or drawbacks that popped up as we looked into these?
Well, let's start with the Garmin, the Venu X1.
Okay.
And the first thing that hits you really is the price.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely premium. We saw it listed at $799.99, though, maybe found from $759.99 elsewhere.
Right. That price tag immediately tells you something about its positioning. It's not your average smartwatch.
No kidding. And it's brand new, too, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty recent. Released June 12, 2025. So it's Garmin's latest push into that high-end space, mixing features into this, new kind of form factor for them.
And that form factor is, it's pretty striking. The design specs are impressive.
They really are.
I mean, the sources kept highlighting how sleek it is. Just 8 millimeter thin? That's tiny.
Wafer thin, as some reviewers put it. Thinner than a lot of phones.
And the weight. Get this. 1.4 ounces.
Which is incredibly light.
Yeah, someone actually said they forgot I had it on. You don't hear that often about a feature-packed watch.
No, you really don't. It shows a real focus on just wearability, comfort.
Absolutely. And beyond just being light, that display sounds like a big deal, too.
It is. It's Garmin's biggest yet, apparently. A 2-inch AMOLED. Bright, easy to read.
And tough. Sapphire lens, titanium back.
Yeah, the materials you'd expect at this price. Built for durability, scratch resistance. It feels premium, even though it's light.
Plus that comfort fit nylon band they mentioned. Good for wearing it 204/7, I guess.
Seems like it. Designed for long wear, even sleeping with it on. And that little LED flashlight. It sounds minor, but people seem to love that practical touch.
Yeah, those little things can be useful. So size matters for the display, wafer thin, forgot I had it on. Sounds like they really nailed the physical design.
I think so. And that focus carries over to something crucial, battery life.
Yes, the classic Garmin strength.
Exactly. And here, it's pretty impressive. Up to 8 days in standard smartwatch mode.
8 days, wow.
Yeah. And even if you're hammering the GPS, say for a long run or hike, you still get up to 16 hours.
Okay, that's substantial.
Reviewers definitely agreed. One just said 89 days is plenty enough.
Yeah.
It really sets it apart from watches you have to charge every single night.
For sure. 8 days. I might actually lose the charger. So, okay, it lasts forever, but what does it do for fitness? Beyond steps, I mean. This is Garmin's turf.
Right, and this is where it gets really deep. It's doing 24/7 health monitoring, things like HRV status.
Heart rate variability, important for recovery.
Exactly. It tells you how stressed or recovered your body is. Really key for knowing if you're pushing too hard or ready to train. Plus, advanced sleep tracking, breaking down your sleep stages.
And the body battery. I like that feature.
Yeah, body battery is like having a fuel gauge for your body. It factors in activity, stress, sleep, shows your energy levels throughout the day.
So you know when to push, when to rest.
Precisely. It turns data into actual guidance. And of course, pulse ox for blood oxygen. Though, the usual caveats apply, not a medical device, availability varies.
Gotcha. So it's giving you actionable insights, not just raw numbers. What about workouts? 100+ sports apps sounds like a lot.
It's incredibly versatile. Running, cycling, golf, strength, swimming, tons of profiles. But the real juice is in the advanced training metrics.
Like what?
Things like training readiness. It looks at your sleep, your recovery time, recent training load, and basically tells you how ready you are for a hard workout today.
Ooh, okay. That's smart.
Then there's training status, which looks at your longer-term trends. Are you being productive, peaking, maybe overreaching? And endurance score helps you understand your capacity for sustained effort.
It really is like a coach on your wrist analyzing your actual condition. And golf, 43,000 courses.
Yeah, that's a huge draw for golfers. Shows that deep specialization. Plus, adaptive training plans from Garmin Coach for running, cycling, strength. It guides your workouts.
Okay, so fitness is covered. What about the smart side? Calls, assistance.
It does the basics well. Hands-free calling from the watch using your phone's connection, built-in speaker and mic, and you can use your phone's voice assistant.
And navigation. Garmin's usually strong there.
Yep. Built-in maps and GPS are standard. And for the serious adventures, there's an option for Outdoor Max Plus Spaced that gives you extra stuff like satellite imagery, detailed ski maps. Really comprehensive.
Makes sense. And people seem to love it overall, right? The reviews sounded quite positive.
Overwhelmingly. We saw things like very much better than others. Even a Phoenix Killer, which is high praise in the Garmin world.
Wow.
Unimaginably thin, packed full of features, a game changer. And that one comment saying it does everything a high-end Phoenix and a dedicated Garmin bike computer does, all in one watch. That's pretty telling.
That's intense. But surely there were some downsides. Nothing's perfect.
True. A few criticisms did surface. That Comfort Fit band, while comfy, was apparently a bit fiddly for people with bigger hands to get on. A pain, one user called it. And maybe surprisingly, given the price, a couple of comments mentioned it felt too plasticky. Might just be the perception because it's so light, though?
Interesting trade-off there. Lightness versus that premium heft some people want. Anything else?
Well, it's odd, but while most praised the battery, a few users specifically said battery life is a major concern. Maybe their usage was extremely heavy or specific settings drained it faster than expected.
Huh.
Weird. And a more technical point. It uses single-band GPS, not the dual-band some other high-end watches have for potentially better accuracy in tricky spots like cities or deep canyons. Probably fine for most, but worth noting for the hardcore folks.
Got it. So that's the Venu X1, a serious, lightweight fitness machine with a premium price. How does the Samsung Galaxy Watch 7 stack up against that? Especially considering, well, the price.
Right, and that's where the conversation totally shifts. The Galaxy Watch 7's price is, well, it's in a completely different league.
How different are we talking?
We saw it on a Prime Day deal for $159.99. Its regular price is more like $209.
Whoa. Okay, so that's like a quarter of the price of the Garmin, roughly?
Even less, yeah. It makes it vastly more accessible.
And it's been out a bit longer too, right? Not quite as new.
Exactly. Released July 10th, 2024. So it's had almost a year on the market compared to the Venu X1. Design-wise, it's much more traditional.
Like a standard round watch?
Pretty much. Comes in 40mm or 44mm sizes. Classic round look, sapphire crystal display for toughness. Reviewers called it sleek and solid, premium without being bulky. It looks sharp.
But heavier than the Garmin.
Oh, definitely. It weighs in at 5.9 ounces. Remember the Garmin was 1.4?
Yeah, that's a big difference. You'd feel that on your wrist.
For sure. It's a more substantial feeling watch. But the big story for the Galaxy Watch 7, the thing Samsung really pushes, is the AI integration.
Right, Galaxy AI. How does that actually work in the watch for health stuff?
This is where Samsung tries to stand out. The AI isn't just passively tracking, it's trying to be smarter. It compares your outdoor runs or cycles to past ones, gives you feedback. It calculates a personalized energy score.
Sort of like body battery, but maybe more holistic?
Kind of. It looks at your activity, sleep, even factors in mental readiness, apparently, to give you a score for the day. And improved heart rate tracking that uses AI to filter out noise from movement during exercise.
That's useful. And it gives tips too.
Yeah, personalized wellness tips based on your data. Little nudges to help you hit your goals.
And the sleep tracking AI, that sounded quite advanced,
Yeah.
mentioning sleep apnea detection.
It is. That's a potentially huge feature. It aims to help detect signs of moderate to severe sleep apnea. Now, big disclaimer here.
Yeah.
It's over-the-counter software, not a medical device. It's not for people already diagnosed, and it needs 2 nights of monitoring.
Ooh.
But still, having that potential screening on a consumer watch, that's a really interesting use of AI for health awareness.
Definitely a powerful wellness feature. Okay, what about just using the watch? Is it fast, responsive?
Performance seems to be a strong point. It has a newer chip, the Exynos W1000. Reviewers said it felt noticeably faster, much more fluid than older Galaxy watches. Snappy interface, smooth scrolling.
And it runs Wear OS. So good integration with Android phones.
Absolutely. Seamless integration is the goal. Make calls, get texts. Use Google Wallet or Samsung Pay for NFC payments. It's designed to be a convenient extension of your Android phone.
Makes sense. Okay, now the flip side. We praise the Garmin's battery. How's the Galaxy Watch 7 fare?
Yeah, this is the trade-off. All those smarts and that smooth performance, they take power. Sources consistently say it needs near-daily charging with typical use.
So charge it every night like your phone.
Pretty much. Maybe stretched to a day and a half with light use, but that's about it. So a totally different expectation compared to the Venu X1.
Gotcha. A daily charger. But people still liked it overall. What were the positive comments?
Oh, yeah, lots of praise. Best smartwatch I've ever owned. Absolute powerhouse, lightning fast. People really like the AI health features, saying they go beyond basic tracking.
Any specific examples stick out?
There was one from a night shift worker who said it was the first watch to actually track their unusual sleep schedule accurately. That's a big win. And someone else loved how smoothly alarms synced between their phone and watch. Small things, but they add up.
They really do. And the criticisms. Besides the battery, which seems like a known quantity.
Battery life was definitely the most common point, even if some accepted it. The other big one, particularly for US users, was the lack of blood pressure monitoring.
Ah, right. It's available internationally, but not in the US version.
Correct. And that was a disappointment for people who were expecting or hoping for that feature.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Okay, so we've got the deep dive on both. Let's pull back. How do we help someone choose between these two very different watches?
It really comes down to fundamental priorities. First, obviously, price. Garmin's a serious investment, around $800. Samsung's way more accessible, often under $200.
That's a massive gap, and it dictates a lot, like battery life versus AI smarts.
Exactly. Garmin gives you that incredible multi-day endurance, freedom from the charger. Samsung focuses on cutting-edge AI health insights, but needs that daily charge. It's a core difference in philosophy.
And the feel, the design, super light and thin Garmin versus the more traditional, heavier, round Samsung.
Right. Do you want to disappear on your wrist, or do you prefer that classic substantial watch feel?
Then there's the fitness focus.
Yeah.
Garmin goes super deep, right? Specific sports, advanced training metrics, golf maps. It's for the dedicated athlete.
Definitely. Samsung's more about broad AI-powered wellness for everyday health. The energy score, the sleep apnea detection, it's about managing overall well-being using AI, maybe less about optimizing for a specific sport.
And finally, the smart features and ecosystem. Garmin's strong on built-in navigation. Samsung's strength is its tight integration with Android via Wear OS calls, texts, payments.
Yeah, very much the connected lifestyle versus the outdoor adventure focus, broadly speaking.
So for you listening, it boils down to what you value most.
Ask yourself, am I that serious athlete needing marathon battery life, super detailed training data for my specific sport, and maybe robust GPS for the outdoors? If yes, the Garmin Venu X1 seems like the obvious contender despite the cost.
Or, are you looking for a more affordable daily watch? Something smart that uses AI to give you interesting wellness insights, works seamlessly with your Android phone for everyday tasks like calls and payments, and you don't mind charging it each night.
If that sounds more like you, then the Samsung Galaxy Watch 7 is probably a fantastic fit.
So it really drives home the point, doesn't it? The best smartwatch isn't universal. It's about finding the tech that aligns with your life. Is it the endurance and athletic focus of Garmin, or the AI smarts and daily convenience of Samsung? A great question to ponder. And if you want to check out the latest prices or deals for either the Garmin Venu X1 or the Samsung Galaxy Watch 7, we'll have links for you down in the description.
Absolutely. And hey, if this deep dive helped you cut through the noise, please think about subscribing to the channel Tech Talk Central. We enjoy bringing you these analyses and comparisons.
Yeah, we love doing it. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.